Well, here we are. We're at Derby Airport. We're going to do the Horizontal Falls tour today. We fly out to the Horizontal Falls and then we get on a boat and then we go and have lunch somewhere. But it's absolutely going to be an exciting day for us. There's 3 planes full loads going out there today. These can land on water, they can take off and land on water, so I suppose they're amphibious. We're looking forward to it. I'll speak to you later. We've been planning this day for a very long time. Firstly, we had to watch a safety video and then we walked out on the tarmac to our aircraft. We were on the last of the 3 departing flights, so we could watch the first 2 take off before us. The flight out to Talbot Bay would take about 30 minutes. On board our own flight it was pretty cramped, but fun. I was quite eager to enjoy the view from the air. And soon we were off the ground. Derby was a great green spot in a sea of low tide mudlands. I'm on the plane. I probably have to shout because it's quite loud in here. We've just left Derby. We're flying over all these mud flats which will be filled by water when the tides come in. It's absolutely a sensational flight to see the Kimbrley from the air. Absolutely loving this. It's going to be a great adventure, I'm sure. Soon we reached Talbot Bay, which was our final destination. We circled over the 2 gaps that are responsible for the horizontal falls. From the air you really could appreciate how narrow they actually were. And then we started to descend quite rapidly. We pulled up to a series of pontoons which host the Horizontal Falls operation. Our speedboats were waiting for us and we boarded pretty much straight away to take advantage of the receding tide. We were given some last-minute safety instructions before we took off. Then we sped off towards the Horizontal Falls. They didn't muck around getting us to the first gap, which is only 11 meters wide. You could absolutely feel the rush of the tide as it was leaving Talbot Bay. The skipper manoeuvres the boat a bit just to get an idea of how the tide is running. Yes, it was running quite swiftly. Then he accelerated and absolutely belted it. Of the wind, the feeling of the acceleration, and knowing that we're heading towards that really narrow gap was absolutely thrilling. And here we go, right through that narrow gap. What a fantastic sensation that was, and you don't just go through once. The skipper turned us around to go back through it again. This time we were going with the tide, so it felt a little bit faster. Few bumps over the wake, and here we go again, right through the guts of the thing. And that was just so exhilarating. This was an absolutely fabulous experience. I'll never ever forget it. And here we go again. You can see the high water mark on the rocks. I mean, it is pretty extraordinary. That rushing water is just tidal. It's nothing else. There's nothing else there. It's just the tide getting through that gap at an extraordinary speed. Then we came up to the narrower gap. It's only 7.5 metres wide. Unfortunately, due to a previous accident that happened there, we aren't allowed to go through this gap. You can easily see that the water on the other side of the gap is a lot higher than on this side of the gap. Then it was back to the pontoon for morning tea. Well, that was exciting. I've just done the horizontal falls tour, and going through the horizontal falls. There's two of them, but we can only go through one, and it's all tide driven. And I tell you, it was just an amazing experience. One of the things, and this is the only place in the world where you can do it, that just out of Derby, here in Talbot Bay, in the Kimberleys. Amazing. You should try it someday. After a nice snack, we were off again on another tour, not through the gap this time, but to have a look at the scenery around Talbot Bay. The pontoon has a shark-proof swimming pool, and people are invited to go and have a swim. The water is quite lovely, of course. What they don't tell you is that when you're in there, they're going to hang on the pontoon, and that will attract other sharks into the other part of the pool. So keep your hands to one side, folks. I was amazed at the number of sharks that turned up, as well as other fish as well, all hoping to get a free feed. Not of the swimmers, but of the fish that was being thrown to them. Well, I can tell you, this horizontal falls tour that we've done is absolutely brilliant. It's been a thrill a minute. We've seen some incredible scenery. The majestic falls, the horizontal falls, which are just tidal, was sensational to go through. We've been doing other things as well. We've been going and looking at Talbot Bay where we are. We've just seen a whole pile of sharks who were summoned to come and get a bit of a meal, and some people actually swam with the sharks, not actually the sharks, but the sharks were in a different part of a cage. But it's really good value, and we are so pleased that we decided to do this. Are you enjoying your meal?
I am. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up.
It was beautiful barramundi, wasn't it?
It's going to be hard to beat elsewhere on our trip.
And what did you think of the horizontal falls?
Oh, I loved it. I'm hoping we get to go back for another look and see what it's doing now the tide's turned.
Well, it'll be going the opposite way, I think.
Yeah.
Hope so. Ever got a wish? We then headed out for the incoming tide experience. This tide comes in from the continental shelf, so it has a journey of 600 kilometres to get here to Talbot Bay, and it travels very quickly. Then it was time to board our seaplanes for a scenic flight back to Derby.
Sort of have to lengthen it as we
Taking off from water was just as much fun as landing on water. It didn't take us all that long to take off, and then soon we were flying over the amazing Buccaneer Archipelago. That is a scene that very few people are privileged to see, simply because of the remoteness of the place we're at. We also flew over Cone Bay, which is just as beautiful as everything else up here in the Kimberley. Sadly, this amazing adventure had to come to an end. Australia's so full of surprises. Maybe we should try it sometime. After about 45 minutes, we flew back into Derby, and I have to say I heartily recommend the Horizontal Falls tour. You can do it out of Broome. We chose to do it out of Derby because it is closer and you spend less time on the plane to get there. But what a unique and fascinating experience. Do try it for yourself if you are able. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video and want to follow our travels, please subscribe to our channel and we can notify you when the next video drops. Have a good day and happy travelling.